Hiya there folks, how you doing? Welcome back to Captain of Industry, which just dropped its big update 3, which I've been looking forward to for quite some time. Big ticket items, you can see we've got a wee advert there. Trains, space and asteroids, which sound awesome. They are far down the tech tree, so I haven't had a chance to play with them yet, so let's try and discover those together. New game, what have we got? There's a new map for this one called Dragontail Isle. As you can see, is very long and thin. There's going to be transportation issues, which is going to require use of trains, which I am all for. So yeah, I think we're going to go for that. As for the starting one, we've got an easy, a hard, and an insane one. I had a look. I had a little test game yesterday, and starting location 3 is described as insane, but I couldn't really find out why. It's got a big ocean around it, so you've got to do that. But it didn't actually. I never felt like I was at threat of losing the game. It was just a bit tedious because we had to build small and then just wait to make a land bridge. So we're not going to go for that one. We're going to go for option number 2, which is hard. I don't know why it's hard. Like all the materials are here, but yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. But the reason I want to do number 2 is because it's way down one end of this, so it'll emphasize our ability to use trains to get up and down, to get access to resources at the other end of the map. So yeah, option 2 is what we're going for. I'm just going to do standard difficulty. We're going to leave everything on normal. Ore sorting is now a default, so yeah, all good. And we need a game name. Last Stop Expanse. We want something shipping outpost. Yeah, let's go for that, because we're going to ship things by trains, and I guess by ship because we have a ship. But yeah, let's go. And yeah, here we go. Welcome, Captain. Yeah, if you want to read that, pause the game. I'm gonna ignore it. But yeah, let's have a look. We've got our housing. We've got our workers. Ooh, ooh, this is new. In fact, the whole UI is new. I was looking at it. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's kind of it's not very colourful, so I find the lack of colours makes it a bit hard for me to figure out what's going on. But yeah, it's interesting. The menus down here are interesting as well because they've got like subcategories of stuff that we can have a look at. But yeah, all the buildings are the same. The start's the same. We've got the 8 pickups and a tree harvester. We've got our 2 houses and a food market. We've got our broken shipyard and our broken ship, and a broken abandoned communications station that has some resources for us to harvest. So last update changed. It gave us an extra resource instead of concrete, which was bricks, to be used in the early game until you can get a proper concrete setup created. This update they've rolled that back, so now instead of making bricks you just make concrete blocks, but using a primitive kiln type building, which is super inefficient, but it means you don't have to mess about with transitioning your production lines from bricks to concrete later on, which it makes sense. It makes things easier. I'm not seeing why this one is considered a hard start. They've got plenty of room. I think in the last couple of updates, the difficulties have been adjusted, so having this much space counts as hard, whereas in the first couple of updates, this would be plenty of space. Yeah, I don't know if my expectations are just misaligned from being very experienced with this game. Cool. Okay, we're gonna do a bunch of stuff. We're gonna essentially follow the goals up here. Some of them I don't really agree with, like making a coal maker. We do start with a small amount of coal. I would usually just not even bother with a coal maker and just like keep things small until we can mine our own coal, because again, my experience from the first updates when we couldn't do tree farming made me really resent having to burn wood to turn it into coal. That's probably not a good instinct at this point in the game when we can start tree farming in a couple of tech levels. So yeah, we're basically just going to do this. I'm not going to go too in depth on the early game. I'm going to skip over a lot of it apart from what's new, because yeah, I want to make this series about the new stuff. And the big new stuff is trains, and trains are like way. I haven't even looked. I don't even know where they are. Yeah, here they are. when we start getting large vehicles, construction 3, which is, yeah, that's probably going to be like 4 or 5 hours of gameplay to get there, even in the best circumstances. I don't want to make you all wait 4 or 5 hours of video to get to there. I know I'm not exactly known for my brevity in my videos, but yeah, I want to get to that as much as possible. Ooh, long trains. Extends maximum train length and internal capacity of attached train depot can be chained together. Oh, that's cool. Okay, right, yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah, I'm going to skip over a lot of the early game. It's all very similar to previous updates, apart from stuff like the very small changes, like concrete slab is different, and like they've redone the early tech tree a tiny bit, but by so little that I can barely even tell it. Like it looks just like they've rearranged it. Like this beacon and ship dock repair used to be down below the basic concrete, but they're the same technologies. I'll pop in to like show you some stuff I've done and like hopefully give you the highlights. But otherwise, I'll be coming off recording. Okay, and off we go. Yeah, I chucked a generator and a research lab there. I chucked a waste collection there. For the dumping, I put the dumping over here. I couldn't really see a place which was a very obvious place to dump stuff, so I figured we might as well start working on a ramp up to there. The oil is there, so I didn't want to block that. I feel like we'll probably not need this ramp because this is where the coal is, and we'll probably dig a ramp out from the coal because we're going to be digging coal anyway, right? So we might as well. But yeah, I figured we might as well dump it there. If it turns out to be a bad place to dump stuff, we can always dig it back out later on. There's no hassle at all. And yeah, we've got our blast furnace to make iron. We've got so the blast furnace makes molten iron, sends it down these channels and puts it into the metal caster, so it turns it into plates, and then it produces exhaust which gets vented into the atmosphere because yeah, it's captain of industry, not captain of ecology. And yeah, also a farm because our people need to eat, and we will be magnanimous and give them potatoes. You can just eat potatoes, nothing but potatoes. That's all the basic stuff. I think we're about to, yeah. Oh yeah. Also, I built the coal maker. Begrudgingly, it's there. It's making coal, which means we've finished this iron production. If you're new to this game, I highly recommend following these goals pretty much to the letter. They give you stuff as well. It's all the stuff that you need to start the game, to get through the early game, and it also gives you like presents, extra potatoes and building supplies, extra fuel and building supplies and vehicle parts. It'll give you a research order. I don't know if I'm going to follow it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm too busy telling you about this. But yeah, let's have a look at the research. I think we want construction first because we want to be able to build our own construction materials. Because if we run out of those before we build our own supply of them, then we're screwed. There's nothing we can do. Because yeah, you need building supplies to build an assembly plant. Ooh. Oh, okay, yeah. That wasn't bad, it's just a rainstorm. We're fine. Yeah. So yeah, we need construction supplies to build an assembler, and we need an assembler to build construction supplies. So yeah, long story short, that's what we're gonna start with research. Then we'll go for vehicles and mining, so we can start getting stuff dug out of the ground, and maintenance, trading, I guess. And then diesel. We want diesel. We don't want to run out of fuel before we can make our own. A beacon because we don't want to run out of workers. And then the rest of this stuff is fairly low priority. Basic concrete, we probably want that, but we've got loads and loads of concrete in that like abandoned communication station. 600 concrete will last us ages and ages. And then the same with copper and rubber. We've got loads of those. And then we want ship dock repair so we can start exploring the map. I'll just clear out the first tech level, and The tech levels alternate between upgraded construction materials and upgraded research labs. There's choke points at each of those points. So yeah, this second tech level will probably aim to get to Research Lab 1 and then stop, because upgrading to Research Lab 1 changes it from a basic lab which just does the research to what are they going to call it? Research Lab 1. Research Lab 1 requires actual materials to do its research, so we want to make sure we clear out all the previous researches first, so we don't accidentally end up burning materials to researches that we could do with using just time. I think once we're into the second tech level, crop rotation, then vegetable farming, absolutely the best things to go for. And then irrigated farms, so we don't have to rely on the rain, and that'll let us upgrade our food supply much better. And then I think I want conveyor belts, because I do love me some conveyor belts. And then tree planting. I don't think we need tree planting because we've got loads of trees. The rest of this stuff, we're probably going to be researching faster than we build the stuff. But yeah, let's just queue up everything. We'll just queue everything up. And then when we get to here, we'll figure out what we do. One thing I do like about the new UI is when you do a research, close the goals, it appears in here and it stays there forever until you get rid of it, which I really like, because I basically use that as a to-do list. So I'll leave that in the list until I've set that up. So yeah, cool. Let's do that. Yeah, the early game in this is all about preventing yourself from getting soft locked. So building construction parts before you run out of your initial supply of construction parts, setting up iron production out of the ground before you run out of these iron scraps from the communication station, mining copper and oil and making electronics out of their byproducts before you run out of the stuff that comes in the shipyard, all that sort of stuff. We are now so we get iron from here, we get concrete from that abandoned communication station, we get wood from that tree harvester that's around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Just chopping up the trees and putting them onto the trucks, and then the trucks take them where they need to go. Yeah, we've got 4 techs. We're running behind the techs right now, but that'll probably be the case for the whole of the game, because things just get more and more complex. Now we've got production. We've got 2 different things: general and maintenance. I think I want maintenance here somewhere. So I think I'm going to put my blast furnaces across there for iron, and then I'm going to kind of cross the streams a bit by putting the copper ones there, and then the copper ones we can make electronics here, because electronics and construction parts 1 are needed for construction parts 2, and they're also needed for maintenance. So electronics will be produced here and sent here and along here for the construction parts 2. It'll make more sense later on. Once we've got access to more stuff to build, we can start thinking about the more complex layouts. But yeah, we'll be building off this assembly, probably like quite a big construction part creation bit. Then yeah, this one takes in mechanical parts and electronics and creates maintenance, which basically stops. So this thing uses 0.4 of a maintenance. Oh right, okay. So right now it's using 0.4 of a maintenance every 60 seconds, but it can use 2. So I guess because it's parked, it uses only a little bit. But if it's driving around constantly, in fact, this one's driving around. Yeah, this one's using 2 right now because it's driving. Cool. Okay. I don't think we got that much detail about that before. But yeah, some of our more complex buildings, maybe this one. No, some of our future buildings will use maintenance as well. So it's not just vehicles. Cool. What do we want to do next? We can get rid of. I think we can get rid of this. I don't think we need to build electronics or mechanical parts yet, because we've got loads of them, and the only thing we're using them for is maintenance. Yeah, we're using almost no maintenance right now, so those will last us ages. What I really want to get into is the mining. So let's go into terraforming. This is where I've got the dumping designation to put down here. which you can see we've already got started on. But we need a mine control tower. We're going to start off with iron only, but we need a mine control tower. Going to chuck that up a little bit so that it doesn't get in the way of our iron setup. We're going to take a look at that and we're going to edit the area. And this is another new thing. This area, it used to be, it was always square, but now we can make it like whatever shape we like, which I kind of have mixed feelings about. It's cool, but also like it was very hard to tell. Like if I want to put a square here, it's hard to tell whether it's inside or outside of it. So you've got to kind of create bigger borders around it in order to make it, in order to be sure that you're getting the right thing. But yeah. Well, I'll deal with it. I'll get used to it. I don't know if I'm just being like cranky about new things, not being like the old things. But yeah, we'll get some mining on the go. I want to start out flat, and I want to go to like here, and then I want to see, can I do, no, that's too steep. If we do it that way, that's kinda works. In fact, if we put it over by 1. Yeah, you kind of see what I'm doing here. We're going to start flat and then we're going to go up a hill, because while we're mining this, we might as well try and build ourselves a ramp to gain access up here. I don't think it's a good idea to try and do this exclusively. We might be better building a ramp over here where it's just rock that we can just dig out and then dump somewhere. But yeah, there's no point. We're going to get loads of iron just by digging upwards, so there's no point trying to maximize it yet. We could always come back and dig out the stuff we missed later on. So that should be there. Where's the... Okay, so the iron goes all the way up to like here. And we're almost... In fact, is that all of it? Is it? Yeah, we're all the way up to there. Okay, this cliff wasn't anywhere near as tall as I thought it was going to be. Because we can just flatten it out and then dig along here. Cool. I think we should be able to do that. I think maybe that ramp will actually be valid, and then we can, because we're only, because this is all flat, we can basically just extend this off to the left, and we'll have iron for a long time. We've only got the most basic excavators right now, so it's going to take us a while to dig anything out. So we're not in danger of running out of any of the iron anytime soon. But what we do need is vehicles, logistics, a vehicles depot, because we don't currently have any excavators and we would like some. So I'll chuck that next to the maintenance because they use the same materials. Well, they don't. They need vehicle parts, and vehicle parts cost the same materials as maintenance depots. So yeah, an excavator, a couple of extra pickups. We need pickups for the mining tower, but we don't want to take those away from our pool of like hauler pickups that are doing general work around the colony. So yeah, we'll do that. That'll gain us access to iron ore. If we go to set recipes, we see we're currently doing the one with the iron scraps. We now have access to another one that does iron ore, which is less efficient and produces slag as well, which we'll need to dump. But metal scraps are totally finite, so there's no point relying on those for too much longer. Yeah, we did the thing for construction parts, so we'll collect that reward. We dumped some waste, so we'll collect that reward. Trading, this one wants us to do assembly to make mechanical parts. I don't think we need that early. Oh no, my mistake. We do need that. We've only got 4 left. Let's do that. Let's do that. I think that's a good idea. You were right, tutorial, and I was wrong. There we go. Mechanical parts. Okay, and then this is what I was talking about. This kiln, it used to take like dirt and coal and make bricks, but now it just takes limestone and coal and makes concrete. But I don't even remember what the proper one, advanced concrete. 9 limestone into 3 cement, 3 cement into 24 concrete, compared to the basic concrete recipe, which is 18 into 12. Yeah, so 9 times 2, 6. So that's 48 concrete for this. The basic one gives us 12 out of the same amount of limestone. So we want to transition to the advanced concrete as soon as possible, I think. Maintenance, yes, we have done the thing. Thank you for acknowledging it, game. Have we unlocked storage yet? Yes, we have. Cool. This is not the right storage. Loose storage. Chuck that there. A bit of extra space for potatoes. Because, yeah, we just got a message about this one. The output is full on the farm, so we'll give it a bigger buffer. What else? Fluid storage, unit storage. I'm going to put a unit storage in front of this because this thing can only store like 40 construction parts, and we want to have a few more of those there. I haven't set the filter on this, but because it's connected straight to that, that'll output those into those, and that'll automatically set the filter when it happens. Chuck a unit storage over here for iron. I'm not going to connect it straight up. I'm going to let the trucks do that, because later on we'll use conveyor belts to get these two combined into one and put on there, so we can just set that to iron and the trucks will take that out of there, put it in there. Okay, what else? Oh, hang on a minute. We didn't build an ore sorting plant. Let's do that now. Cool, so yeah, we want one of these. Something's in the way. I would really like to get it there, but there's too many trees. So the reason I didn't want it there is because I want to put storages in front of it, and that'll take it down to like here, which will block I want to build conveyor belts along here later on. So I want to push this. Maybe if I push it, I think, yeah, push it that far back. That'll give it enough space, and then we can go into storage. We can grab a loose storage, chuck one there and one there, and then we can say iron ore comes out of A, copper ore comes out of D and not B, rock and dirt will come out of B and C. And then just in case we go to dig up that dumping ground, I'm going to say that it can sort out, in fact, we're going to have this do everything. Or well, we're going to have it do 8 things, because apparently that's the limit. But yeah, if we go down here and we decide we want to dig that out, that's going to have waste and slag in that. So we want to make sure that there's places for the trucks to go with that. And then the same for sand. We're probably going to have to dig some sand out to start the mining here. What was the other one I missed? So there's no limestone in here. That's what I missed. Yeah, maybe we'll rejig that later. And in the future, when we can afford it, we'll probably have like one here for just iron, one here for just copper, and etc. But our excavators are just too slow right now, so the capacity on this ore sorting plant is way higher than we would need if we wanted to build one for each. Once we get bigger vehicles, that's probably going to be a good idea. But for now, let's start mining. One excavator, two pickups. They will come and start digging. Yeah, there's just dirt until here, and then it'll start mixing in with iron. And when it starts mixing in, these trucks will have mixed loads. And if they just have dirt, then it's fine. They can dump that straight away. But if it's mixed, they can't do anything with it until it's been sorted. Believe it or not, the ore sorting plant sorts the ore. I'm gonna close vehicles and mining because we set up our vehicle thing. We already did maintenance. Maybe we can. No, I don't want to do this yet. I was gonna be like, maybe we can repair the shipyard and go exploring, but I don't want to do that until we have our fuel supply, because right now we're just burning through our fuel stockpile and we don't have production on that. So let's do that next. And yeah, I know I said I was going to be skipping over this stuff, but apparently I just can't help myself from talking. So yeah, I'll just do it quickly. Cool. Okay, there's a quick and dirty oil setup. How many workers? We don't have a lot of workers, so I think I'm gonna pause 2 of those. We're not in any rush. I forgot that the oil processing needs coal as well, so I think that means our next thing should be to set up some coal mining. Actually, second next thing is going to be coal mining. First next thing is going to be buildings. We want a beacon because we need more people. We've only got 11 free workers left. We want to make another, go like that, and then we'll expand like 3 wide up this direction and possibly 1 more down this direction. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, we want a beacon to start getting more workers in, because every vehicle needs a driver from our worker pool. Every building needs workers from our working pool. How many vehicle parts? 130. Let's grab an excavator and 2 of these, which is 80, and then 100, 120, because our trucks are extremely busy right now, so getting a couple of extra of those is probably going to be a good idea. And then yeah, back to what we were doing. We want to do some terraforming. We want to mine some coal out. Terrain too high. Okay, so the terrain down here is a bit rough, which is annoying, because the way we would sort that would be by using excavators attached to a mining tower. So yeah, let's do mining designation, and yeah, there's no like flat land around here, so we'll just dig into here, and then the same as the other side, we're gonna dig up here. What's this? 15. So 1 more of these, and I think, oh no, that's 60. Oh, cool. Okay. So that gets us up to, no it doesn't. You lied to me. Okay, yeah. 15. Cool. The slopes tell you the number of the bottom of them, not the top. That's what tripped me up there. So yeah, there we go. Now that's going to be a ramp, and that's not that much material. We could probably make it quicker by doing it over to the left a bit. In fact, maybe we'll do that. Maybe that's a good idea. If we do it like here, that is not what I was trying to do. And then we drop that down to there, and then go like that, and then cancel that. Yeah, there we go. See, that's a much like the profile of the top of the coal is a lot closer to the level that we're trying to get to, so that should take them a lot less time to dig through that. And we want to edit this area as well. Usually I do that first, but I forgot this time. So yeah, cool. Okay, and we can edit that area whenever we like, so there's no need to have it look perfect straight away. Iron ore mining, more construction parts. That's good, because we just ran out of construction parts. These new houses are really expensive, 80 per tile, and the houses are connected together. So this food market full of potatoes will feed all of them. They all count as one settlement as long as they're attached like that. Yeah, we'll need to see how the trains work. I don't know if this is where we're going to keep our population, or whether we're going to like go and see if we can find there's groundwater here, and there's lots of space around, and there's not really much else in this area, so maybe we could clear this off and make this our settlement, get some groundwater to feed our people water, and then have a logistics hub to drop off like food that's farmed down here or up here, stuff that we've built in our industrial core around here, because there's lots of groundwater up here which would be good for farming, and here, and yeah, we could spread things out quite a lot and then use trains to get here. But yeah, we need to wait till we get to the point where we have trains and see how they work and see how viable that is. My voice is starting to crack. Too long without making videos, I think. Cool, so we can get rid of basic diesel, we can get rid of beacon because we built that. We need to keep an eye on that because that will fill up our housing very, very quickly. Terrain leveling, don't need that right now. And tools as well, and terrain leveling, we're going to get rid of those because we can just use them when we need them. But yeah, new refugees, and they bring stuff with them, which is nice of them. Hooray! Cool, what else do we need? We've still got loads of concrete. We started out with 600 of those, and we've still got nearly 400. So we don't really need basic concrete yet. Population growth, yes. Trading, yeah, good idea. Let's do the trading. Where would that be? Trading dock. Cool. And chuck that there. Will that work? Yeah, we'll tuck it in like that, because then that should hopefully mean that this bit of coastline is available for a cargo terminal, maybe. It's a while till we'll be doing anything with cargo ships, but we don't really have a whole lot of free coastline, which is maybe one of the reasons why this start was considered hard. The other one over here, yeah, there's loads of coastline for cargo ships here, here, and over here. So that would have been much easier in that respect. But yeah, cool. Processing iron ore. Why are we processing iron ore? We've still got loads of. So these are prioritized, right? The recipe at the top is the one that always gets done. So as long as the iron scraps are getting delivered fast enough, it shouldn't have ever done any iron ore. But I guess our vehicles were overwhelmed for a while, so that's probably what happened there. Liquid dump. Okay, yeah. Basic distiller produces wastewater. Wastewater is no use to us, so we're dumping it in the ocean, which I'm sure the fish will be very pleased about. Yeah, cool. And that completes us diesel production, which gives us even more concrete and some construction supplies. The only thing that concrete's useful for is to create construction supplies. So that's basically double construction supplies, given that we're producing iron plates and wood already. Stockpile diesel. Yes, we have done that as well. New refugees, yay. And now our worker supply has increased significantly. Let's put an alert on here. So when this is below 25%, tell me, because that means we're using enough diesel that we're using our basic distiller to more than a third of its capacity, which means we're overwhelming. So this oil pump only produces 20, and the basic distiller uses 60. So 3 is the right ratio, but you can see these are totally full and backed up. So we don't actually need 60 oil right now. So I'll put an alert on that, and that'll tell us when this is starting to drain more oil than this one oil pump can produce, and then we can unpause the next one. Yeah, I mean, it saves us 80 kilowatts in one worker, which is a pittance, but it's still. In fact, our generator over here, this is probably not the best place to put a generator, because it uses diesel and we're producing diesel over here. So let's do that. Power, diesel. We'll chuck a couple here. I'm not being too. I'm being a little like chaotic with our placement. We're just chucking stuff anywhere, because this basic distiller will be replaced by a big complex of more official refinery stuff later on, so it doesn't really matter if it's a mess, and there's loads of space. I'm not planning on using any of this space to build anything anytime soon. Yeah, derivatives. Let's chuck a rubber maker in there as well. I think we've still got quite a lot of rubber, but I mean, there's no point messing about. Terrain too high. Yeah, that works there. And then we can come out of here and just dump that there. And it went high because I didn't want to block this wastewater. I wasn't planning on using that, but yeah, you can change that. It will try and avoid blocking outputs and inputs, but you can switch that off using F. And let's see. Okay, so it's not going to let me build this because it's not even ground. So let's just chuck one of these over here instead, because this is where we're going to make our electronics. In fact, no, don't put it there. Here, and then put another one here, because that's going to be one for copper, one for rubber, and then we'll have an assembly making electronics, and then that'll feed down into here and here. Happy days. What else? Trading. Okay, so I think we've built this, right? We built a trading dock. Yeah, so it wants us to trade, what does it want? Concrete slabs for iron. Even more concrete slabs. Yeah, cool. And then it gives us a reward of even more concrete slabs. Yeah, I think maybe we can just like totally skip the inefficient kiln creation stuff. But yeah, we've got lots of stuff here that lets us trade. Um, the coal for diesel and diesel for coal are useful on some of the more extreme starts on some of the maps where you don't have access to one of those two resources. But yeah, as we explore, we'll find more villages and they'll have more types of trade deals for us. In fact, that reminds me, because it wouldn't let us do that, right? Because we don't have enough wood stored, but we are producing wood. So the problem there is that we don't have a storage for wood, which we're going to put here. In fact, we'll put 1 and 2, make this one for concrete, and this one for wood. And then we've got iron up there, and those are the 3 things we need for construction parts 1. And then we're going to make electronics here. In fact, let's do that now. Let's set that up. We'll just chuck it there. Set recipes, electronics, that uses that rubber we just started making, and copper, which we're not yet making, but we've got tons of it stockpiled, and we don't use that very fast, so that's going to be a while. And then I guess we'll store some of that as well. Do I want to? Yeah, I'm not going to bother storing mechanical parts because eventually we're just going to use conveyor belts to send them straight into here. Then there's not really any point stockpiling it because the only thing you need is iron, and we're stockpiling iron. So as long as our 6 mechanical parts per 60 seconds is bigger than the 12, well, this uses 12 per 60 seconds. So as long as this isn't producing more than half speed, this will always be able to keep up, and we don't need a stockpile. And if we do, we want to improve this rather than trying to bother stockpiling stuff. What else? Oh yeah, I totally forgot what I was going to do. What I was trying to do. So that's in the way, right? Go away, trees. Oh, and our tree harvester is right there, so that'll probably get to there pretty quickly. In the meantime, yeah, assembly 1, we'll put it there instead. That's probably going to be there because we've now unlocked assembly 2, which needs construction parts 2, which we aren't making yet, but we can make those in an assembly 1. So we want to, I'm going to temporarily put 1 there, and then once we unlock conveyor belts, we'll delete delete these 3 buildings because they are in the way of how I want to have my permanent construction set up. Yeah, and then this one can create 6 construction parts 1, and then the other one can take those 6 and add some electronics and create 3 construction parts 2 from that. And then that leaves this old one creating construction parts 1 and just stockpiling them. Otherwise, all of the construction parts would get sucked away into construction parts 2, and we would just never have any construction parts 1 to build any stuff unless this was all backed up. Cool, that should knock out that one. Okay, I guess to do this one, I guess we could skip it. I don't know. We'll think about that. We'll think about that. I'm looking at the time on here. We're probably going to finish the episode soon, but so yeah, let me know in the comments if you have opinions on that. Yeah, maybe I'll sleep on it and figure it out in the future, whether we want to skip this goal and go straight to the advanced production, or whether we want to build a kiln for the interim. It wants us to create electronics, which we are doing. It also wants us to create vehicle parts, which, yeah, so vehicle parts use, mechanical parts and electronics exactly the same as maintenance. So we're going to put this here because that's where our electronics are being produced and mechanical parts are being produced as well. So that's good. And then it's right next to here, which is where the vehicle parts need to go. And I'm not going to stockpile those because eventually they're going to become obsolete because we're going to unlock better vehicles and we'll get vehicle parts 2. And once we've got vehicle parts 2, we'll never need vehicle parts 1 again. Unlike construction parts 1, which will always be useful to create some of our stuff, vehicle parts 1 will become totally obsolete. What else? We'll repair the shipyard. Yeah, we've got loads of workers, so I'm going to pause the beacon as per the goal there. We didn't get a reward for that one, which is yeah, that's fair. That's fair. We'll switch this off. Trucks cannot import cargo. We'll let it burn through the last of its fuel, and then we'll delete it, and these ones will pick up the slack. But yeah, we'll repair the shipyard. Let's get that done. Okay, yeah, we've got we don't have enough parts. What's the bottleneck on creating parts? Okay, there is no bottleneck. We're just using them up way too fast. In fact, you know what? Boost it. We've got this Unity stuff, so the happier we make our people, the more Unity they produce, and we can use that. We can spend like a quarter of a Unity per minute to double the production of this assembly, or we can use it to like quick build stuff or a few other stuff. We built our second construction parts thing. We've stored a bunch of stuff in different places, so we should start seeing these numbers on the right going up, because it's not just the output storage of the assemblers. So yeah, and then this, I guess we're going to get that done in a second. I think we're going to have to wait until next episode to see this happening, because 100 construction parts, it's going to take a while for us to do that. And I forgot to assign these. And we're going to start mining coal, which we should have done way earlier, but I forgot to assign the excavators and the pickups. Whoops. And yeah, cool, we've produced enough vehicle parts to get that reward, which gives us some copper and some more construction parts. Yeah, cool. Okay, so I think that was a good first episode. We basically knocked out the kind of first half of the early game. The only things we aren't producing ourselves are copper and the kind of stuff we have to make out of copper and concrete. So next episode we'll set up some copper mining, make some copper, and then feed that into our electronics. We will repair the shipyard and send our ship out to explore this map. We will start mining limestone and turning that into concrete, either via the kiln or via the advanced stuff. I haven't decided yet. We'll figure it out before the next episode. And what else? Oh yeah, we'll start playing around with conveyor belts. I think we're very close to unlocking conveyor belts. We're about to get crop rotation as well, so we'll be able to improve our food production. So yeah, lots of stuff to do in the next episode. But that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.